So let's rock and roll. So everything I'm going to talk about today is in relation to this book, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. If you're a client, what I did, this is actually like a $500 to $600 book. What I did is I had one of my assistants photocopy the entire book, and I uploaded it into the lead generation power playbooks inside of the Trust, Rapport, Influence Sales Method. But everything I'm going to talk about today is in relation to this, one of the most brilliant marketers I've ever read when it comes to direct response copywriting. For our clients, you don't need to go buy it. It's already in the portal. If you're not a client here as a guest, I'm telling you the biggest thing that you can do to understand human psychology and marketing, essentially the entire concept of the book is how do you take all the concepts around human psychology and how do you apply them to your marketing? And that's the big idea. And that's what we're going to cover today is we're going to cover how do we actually speak to prospects via video that actually want them, actually get them to kind of want to reach out to us. So we get more inbound leads. Throw a 1 in the chat if you guys want more inbound leads. You want more people sending you DMs on Instagram, sending you DMs on Facebook, emailing you. You want more emails, more text messages, whatever form you use. We got some people that are with me. So you guys are alive, which is great. Guest here, where to access the Gen. It's a private client training session. So I'll post a link at the very end if you want to join us inside of Triz. Somebody just asked in the chat below, how do you access the Gen call later on? It's only for private Triz clients. But back to this, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I'm telling you, it's the single best book you'll learn in order to actually get more inbound leads. I'm telling you, so one of my private clients that I work with literally just popped his head in. We work together on a weekly basis, David Brownell. He's read this book. I know he can attest that this is probably one of the best books what's up, David? Good to see you, brother. One of the best books you'll read, Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. I'm telling you now that this is the big idea, the big concept we're talking about today. So there's 5 stages to customer awareness that we're going to jam about today as a crew. So when we think about marketing, oftentimes we want to say, we do this or we do that, or, just listed, just sold. Those are all the mistakes that real estate agents and I've been guilty of it is just telling and not actually listening, not actually thinking about where is my prospect in their journey and their awareness, depending on the type of prospects that you work with, your prospects are going to be in one of 5 categories. Maybe some of your prospects that you work with are completely unaware. They don't know how to get into the marketplace. They have zero clue. Some of us are working with just unaware. If you're working with first-time home buyers, they're probably sitting a little bit unaware, or they could be sitting here in problem aware. And I'm going to give you there. So I'm going to give you an example of an ad that you would essentially show to somebody. I want to give you this is a great example of an advertisement with a company called Grammarly. And this ad is specifically targeting an unaware audience. So let me show you an example of what that would look like.
This is Tyler. Tyler, with Grammarly's help, is writing an email to his boss, Anita. Tyler sits just 15 feet away, though it can feel like the distance to Antarctica, approximately 47 million feet. Tyler desperately wants Anita to like him, but doesn't want to sound unsure of himself. He also wants to explain the incident at the elevator. But this probably isn't the email for that. It's an email asking to lead a team workshop because more collaboration would be really helpful, beneficial. But Tyler worries that Anita doesn't think he's confident, especially after the time he told her,
"I'm a suppository of information."
And she gave him this look, since he clearly didn't know what a suppository was. This time, Tyler is determined to find the right words, the ones that will connect best with Anita, so that when Tyler sends his email, he receives a response in just 4 minutes and 12 seconds. That includes phrases like, "I'm impressed," and "such initiative." And the distance between Tyler and Anita stops feeling so far. Grammarly, helping you connect. Go to Grammarly.com to download.
Do you see, with that ad, that advertisement isn't at the very end, it's like, hey, by the way, you have this problem that you're probably not even aware of. And this is how we actually solve the problem. So like a lot of us are at a point, like majority of the marketplace is problem aware. Something I've come to realize over the last couple of years is the majority of the marketplace is problem aware. One of the problems that a lot of our marketing right now is we're trying to market to people that are solution aware. So in this book, Breakthrough Advertising Using Shorts, he breaks down the entire customer journey to walk them through the point where these are the 5 stages. And now our marketing, a lot of it is a lot of us market like the industry, like the homeowners, the investors, the buyers, the sellers. Like a lot of our marketing that I see, the just listed and just sold stuff that we post on social media, is marketing to an audience that isn't most aware. They don't know about your product. They don't even necessarily know the solution to the problem, which is what I want to gift to you today is a framework. Whenever you're creating your ads, I'm going to give you a framework to think about how do we communicate to the problem-aware audience. Throw a 2 in the chat below if you agree with me, where you feel like the vast majority of people you speak with on a daily basis are problem aware. Like you feel like they're most likely problem aware when you have a conversation with them.
Cody, I know you're
Yeah.
probably going to do this. Can you
Yeah.
define a little better what's problem aware? I don't know if I get
Yeah.
unaware. I'm not sure I get problem aware.
Yeah. So a problem aware audience realizes that let's talk about a seller, for example. Somebody that is a homeowner that is, problem aware that they want to potentially sell, but they don't know the solution in order to actually fix the problem. So like, for example, an expired listing would hover between the problem and the solution aware. They know what they want, but they don't know how to get it. Does that make sense? Where the problem happens is like in a lot of our marketing and a lot of this canned marketing that you guys unfortunately buy into, like I don't even know the name of the company out there, like the canned post that did the just listed and just sold. You're assuming that when somebody sees the just listed and just sold, that they're going to be like, oh yeah, like I'm all of a sudden product aware that you are the solution to my problem. Some people aren't even aware that they even have a problem.
Cody,
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing, like when you said they know what they want, just to delineate, they don't know what solution they want. They know what result they want,
Correct.
but they don't know the solution that will get them the result.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. 110%. You're 110% right there.
Because I missed that at first when he wrote it, and I thought that they know what they want. I thought, well, shit, if they know the solution that they want, then why aren't they going and getting it? Where's that gap? But it's they know what the result they want, not the solution they want.
Exactly. And then, when you go from solution to most aware, the most aware audience is just like that. Like this is kind of like where Zillow sits, is in the most aware audience, the people that are actively looking for a solution. Zillow sits in the most aware, almost product aware. Some people are like, because they sit in they play in between them, like all the stages play together. But if you don't understand where the market is, the vast majority of the reason why we don't create marketing that actually converts or marketing that gets people to kind of come to us is all of us are sending out just listed, just sold. We're saying we're the best or we're the #1 agent. And we're assuming that the prospects that are following us are solution and most aware. But where all the magic happens is in the problem aware audience, where somebody is a homeowner and says, this is actually super interesting. We call it, in our marketing world, we call it top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. If you haven't heard that verbiage before, that's essentially when we're talking about customer awareness and messaging. Like if you did nothing else, Diane, other than flip your messaging to just fix it, like helping prospects feel like you understand their problem, but this takes research. This is part of the issues that a lot of agents have when it comes to marketing, which is why they never actually, why their message falls on deaf ears, because they don't even really know the true problem of the homeowner. And part of the issue and part of the reason why this is so important is because there's niches inside the market. So for example, like throw a yes in the chat if you agree with me below. The problem of somebody looking to upsize is different than somebody looking to downsize. Would you agree with me? The problems are different, yet we market to people looking to upsize the same way we market to people that are looking to downsize. It doesn't make sense.
Can I jump in real quick, Cody?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just really want to show off my backdrop is all. It's the only reason I'm here. Anybody want to see it? Like, I mean, just hijacking Cody's call. The problem that you guys have, and so many of you guys have it, is you say, I don't want to leave any money on the table. And so because you don't want to leave money on the table, you say, I want to service the entire marketplace, which means you service nobody. And so what Cody's talking about, we have it in our program too. Like Triz has a very specific ideal client profile, and it's not everybody in the marketplace. If you guys talk to each other, you'll see there's a lot of solo agents in the 3.0 program. Inner circle, you'll see there's a lot less people. They're people that are team leaders or aspiring team leaders. If we don't start to identify who we want, like when you guys, how many people, put a 1 in the chat if you're on Cody's email. Put a 1 in the chat if you're on Cody's email. If you're not on Cody's email, Cody, how do they get on your email list?
They can.
There's only 3 people that are on your email list, which is crazy because all of our clients should be there.
Yeah, you can
that's
literally just go
wild.
to. This is one way to get on there. This is a really great training.
Okay, so you guys get on Cody's email and watch what he does. And listen to the messaging and ask yourself, is he talking to a team or is he talking to a solo agent? Is he talking to somebody that's doing 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6 deals a month and they're trying to get to the 10? Or is he talking to somebody that's doing under 1, trying to get to the 2? And when you see what Cody does, it's like freaking ninja. And you'll start to see how he does it. And then you can take Cody's marketing and you can actually just start to copy it, obviously change it. But if you're not problem aware and you're trying to go to everybody, you go to nobody. And that's going to cost you time, money, and energy. And you're going to get burned out because you're not going to get results and you're going to waste a lot of money.
One of the best things you can do, and like it is choose a niche and go all in on that niche. One of the best things you can do. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't gonna, like, say for example, you're like, hey, I'm gonna be the best at waterfront properties. I'm gonna be the very, very best. Like, you know, a lot of us think that, okay, we're all of a sudden gonna, like, you know, we're like, you're gonna repel some people. But say for example, I set up a funnel. So for us, we have different funnels for different, what we call ideal client profiles. Now, everything we do is we're speaking to a problem. Hey, one of the problems that you have, like this is like a couple weeks ago inside of Triz, I taught you guys the PSWT framework. What's the problem? How do we solve it? What's in it for them? How do we tie them down? That's more of a sales framework, but it could also be applied to marketing. So when you're setting up like funnels, like it's okay to just drive traffic to people that are looking to like want to upsize, but you got to actually understand what keeps them up at night. What are some of the problems that they're going through? Because the deeper you get into the mindset of that specific avatar, the better your messaging will become. Because like when you try to reach everyone, you end up reaching no one, and then your message falls on deaf ears. There's something we call a dog whistle. Has anyone ever, like, just raise a hand. Has anyone ever heard me talk about the dog whistle analogy? So you guys have heard me talk about it. So, you know, a really great example, and Sharon talks about this a lot, and I use this a lot. Hey, if you're a real estate team lead, keep reading. If you're not, keep scrolling. And essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm calling out the people that this is applicable for, and I'm pushing away the people that this isn't applicable for. Now you could do that, and like you could say something along the lines of this. You could say, hey, If you're currently a homeowner that is looking for waterfront property, this video is for you. If you're never going to own waterfront property, keep scrolling. What am I doing is I'm pulling in the people, because what we want to do in our marketing when we're marketing to a problem aware audience, we want the end consumer to be like, that's me. Because if they can identify with the message, you then have an opportunity to deliver it. I'm going to say that one more time so we all understand that. If we have an opportunity for them to say, yes, this message is for me, we now have the opportunity to actually deliver the message. This is why hooks are so important. So there's two different ways to do a hook. You can either again, the first way to do a really great hook is to shock and awe. The second way to do a really great hook is to actually get the prospect to say, that's me. Those are the only two ways. Those are the two best ways to get people to stop the scroll and to listen to what you have to say. Because if you can't get people to listen to what you say, you're not going to be able to deliver the message. And therefore, they're never actually going to listen to you. And you're never going to build trust with the end consumer. I started using this approach in my marketing, social stuff, dog whistle. Yeah, if you keep doing the dog whistle, Diane, and just even in your marketing, say for example, you choose what we would call it a sub niche. I call it a sub niche. So in the real estate world, say for example, I'm okay, I really want to work with investors and I really want to work with a great niche for me in real estate. If I wanted to go more niche. If I were to plop into your area, Sal, this is the first thing I would do. I would be the real estate agent for business owners. I hope somebody takes this idea and runs with it, because what do business owners have? They have equity and they have cash. So if I'm the real estate agent for business owners, I need to speak differently to a business owner. What do successful business owners want? They want time freedom. They want to not have to worry about having to go to a bunch of open houses. They want everything done for them because they're already doing a shit ton of other things. So that's something I would call a sub niche. So say for example, again, I do some consulting for some other companies, and they have a really clear ideal client profile. And the more ideal client profile that you have, an ideal client profile is not somebody looking to sell their home. That's not an ICP. But that's an ICP is hey, they're a business owner. They are looking to, a business owner would technically be an ICP, in a local market. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to take on other homeowners. It just means that your marketing messaging is no longer going to land on deaf ears. Everyone follow me? Just hands? Everyone following me what I'm saying? Okay, cool. Let's keep moving. Let's come back to this document. Cool. Awesome. So if you're not now you're probably asking the question, well, okay, so I choose my sub niche, or I choose even if I want to stay broad, say for example, you're I don't want to trust Cody's opinion to do a sub niche. I just want to stay broad. Well, you still need to understand the end consumer. And what's the best way to understand the end consumer is to research what they're actually searching. So there's a program out there on the market called Answer the Public. It's a free tool. And essentially what it does is it takes the questions that people are asking about different things and it allows you to do research around it. So for an example, I wanted to target first-time home buyers. Well, I'm going to type in first-time home buyers and I'm going to start to do research around the questions they're asking Google. And then what I can do is I can start answering their questions in my content. Because where do they go? Where does somebody go when they have a problem? To Google.
Google.
Well, there's the questions. Now you just create content around the problems that people are having around first-time home buyers. They're asking those questions. And then what you do is you get more Ninja and you add this information into ChatGPT. with a prompt, and it gives you a more detailed layout of how to actually create the content. I'm going to give you a framework for how. So step number one, you go to answer the public. Step number two is you go to ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Why is this important? So 81% of users said they're likely to check Google reviews before they visit or consider a business. This is up 63.3% from last year. If Google reviews in today's market are not a priority for you, you're crazy. What does this mean? It means that you're not even getting the at bat. You're not even getting the at bat anymore. So like, if we've been going on listing appointments in the past and we're like, oh, our business is seeing a decline, and Google reviews and social media presence and all this stuff hasn't been a priority, this is why. The stats tell us why our business declined. Like one of the favorite things that I heard one of my friends, Simon Bowen, once say. He asked the question. He said, "Did your business grow or did the market grow?" I'm going to say it one more time so we all understand that. Did your business grow or did the market grow? That's a pierce in the side of like, of all of us saying, oh man, we had such a great 2020 and great 2021. It's like, yeah, but like the market grew in most markets by 75%, 100%. So did your business grow or did the market grow? So I always want to relate my business results to the results of the local transaction volume. That's what teams are doing. So we had multiple teams on our podcast who had in 2023, they saw a decline in their business, but they were running in line with the market. So the market declined by 8% and their business declined by 8%. So they were actually even. Now, if the market declined by 8% and your business dropped off a cliff, then unfortunately you have two issues. You have a messaging issue and you have a skill issue. Which is why a lot of you are in the, TRIS, again, recognize you have a skill issue. So there's only two ways to fix that. You either get really, really great at marketing or you get really, really great at sales. So did the market grow or did your business grow? It's a really important question to ask yourself. So this content stuff matters. Some people will teach you what to say. I'm gonna do that today. But I want you to understand the impact and the ramifications of not taking action and not creating content and not getting Google reviews. You're not getting the at-bats. So, everything that Vic teaches you in Trust Report Influence Sales Method, the buyer, the listing presentation, the ultimate appointment booking formula is all super important. But if there's two action items for marketing that you take, and I know Vic will agree with me, it's creating content and it's Google reviews. If you do those two things from a marketing perspective, you'll be super successful. So this is how we solve clients' problems. So obviously step number one is we go to answerthepublic.com. That's the step number one. Step number two is we use this framework I'm going to give you. I'm going to go very broad. I'm not going to go niche with this. I'm going to go very broad to homeowners, because I've chatted about how to target homeowners in the past, but this is the framework you're going to use. I'll get to questions. Don't worry. How are we doing on time? We're only at 12:30.
What did you say? Answer?
Answerthepublic.com right here. Answerthepublic.com. So here's how to create videos that solve clients' problems. This is the framework I'm going to give you. So the framework is hook, problem, the why, the power, the impact, the call to action. You probably have seen me use other frameworks, but I'm just giving you another framework to think about how to actually create a video concept. I really like this framework. It's a new framework that I'm using for videos and it's performing really well. I practice what I preach. Last month alone, we spent $20,000 on ads. We record video. This is not theory. This is we spend a $250,000 a year on advertising just for ourselves alone. Plus all the ad spend that we spend for other clients. Let me show you an example of what a good scripting looks like. And then what we'll do afterwards is we're going to throw it into ChatGPT and we're going to kind of make it more niche. So this is an example of a hook. You know, selling your home right now could be the best decision you ever make or the worst. And the difference between winning and losing, it all comes down to strategy, but most homeowners get it wrong. That's the hook. That's one example of a hook. Another example of a hook could be something like this. If you're thinking about selling your home right now, stop. Again, if you're thinking about selling your home, if you're that person, stop, at least until you hear this, because thanks to rising interest rates, political uncertainty, and the Wall Street hedge funds manipulating the housing market, most homeowners are making a big mistake when they sell. What am I doing? I'm touching on current events. These are all current things that are happening. When you think about hooks, what I want you to do, Javier, David, what I want you to do is I want you to walk into a convenience store, and I want you to pick up a magazine. And I want you to read the magazine headlines, and I want you to start thinking like you are an editor. And what would an editor say on a magazine article? That's how you become a better marketer. Because all direct response copy on your was once print. The best copywriters weren't actual. They weren't buying media on social. They were buying media directly to print. If we learn from anyone from human psychology, for example, Breakthrough Advertising, Eugene Schwartz, he was a direct response guy, like Gary Halbert. All these guys were direct response, and they wrote letters and they wrote postcards and they sent them, and people actually called in and they bought the thing over the phone, because that's how they purchased back in the day. The David Ogilvy's, if you don't know who these people are, if you want to be really good at marketing, you need to study them. And I know I'm giving you more work, but if you want to be a really great marketer, you got to study these things. It's just I don't know what to say. It's the same thing as the buyer and the listing presentation. There's a lot to do, but it requires a lot of work to be really great. It is what it is. So the next thing is the problem. So I'm going to lock this into ChatGPT in a second. I'm going to flip the script. I'm going to show you how easy I made it for you if you're inside of Triz. If you're inside of our community, I'm going to show you how easy I made it for you with this, because what I did for you, Javier, is I took all of the marketing books that I've talked about and I've actually uploaded them to ChatGPT. It's called the Sheridan Street Copywriting Wizard. I uploaded it to GPT, all of the 100 books I've read on copywriting and marketing. I've taken all these frameworks and I've uploaded it to GPT. And all you have to do is use the frameworks to write the copy. I made it really, really easy for you. So the next thing is a problem. Look, most homeowners think selling a home is simple. You list it, you wait for offers and cash in. But in this market, that's kind of a dangerous assumption. Because is that what most people think? Yeah. See, the reality is things are shifting fast. Interest rates have changed how buyers think. The economy is shaky. Is this the case? Is the economy shaky? Do most people feel like the economy is shaky right now in the United States? Yes. I'm calling out what's happening. And I'm talking about things that people can be like, yes, I agree. And if you don't position your home correctly, you could end up sitting on it for months, getting lowball offers, or worse, being forced to drop your price just to get attention. The problem is most real estate agents won't tell you this. Again, you know how we use language in our sales, like the everyday average agent or the everyday search and show agent? Again, I want to separate myself from those types of agents. And how I do that is saying hey, here's the problem. Most agents won't tell you any of this. They won't talk about the market being uncertain. That's how you build trust. You talk about the things. You talk openly about the things that are happening in the marketplace. Problem is most of the agents won't tell you this. Either they don't know or they don't want to scare you off. I want you to understand the ninja language I'm using in this script. So they stick to the same cookie cutter strategy that worked in the past, but isn't working now. Now imagine you sell your home in a market that's cooling off with buyers getting nervous and inventory piling up. If you don't have the right approach, you're at the mercy of the market. But the smartest homeowners, they're doing something different. They're not just throwing their house on the MLS, hoping for the best. They're taking control, understanding the right pricing strategies, the negotiation tactics, and how to create demand even when the market is uncertain. Yes or yes? Raise the hands. Do we have all of this information at our disposal inside the listing presentation? Yes, we do. We have Like when you're saying, well, what do I deliver to them? We have all of this in the meeting, we can deliver to them in our listing presentation. So do you understand now why I'm saying that if you don't know the listing and the buyer presentation, you're gonna record these videos and you're gonna go into the meeting and you're gonna sound stupid, like you don't know what you're talking about. That's why Vikram says, start with the ultimate appointment, module 2, module 4, module 5. Module 2, module 4, number 5. A lot of people want to start with marketing. I'm trying to get you guys to understand that marketing is the byproduct. Marketing gets the hand raised. Sales gets your commission check cashed. Because here's the thing, the market isn't dead. Homes are selling. And what I would probably do in here is I'd have my video editor. Again, this, we talk about proof over promise. This is what I would do in this video is I would have, because here's the thing, the market isn't dead. Homes are selling. And then what I would do is I would have them post 3 recent homes that sold in the market for like over asking. That would be the visual that I would have them there, because that would be the proof piece on there. Because I want to talk about current matters, and that would be the video I create. But the ones that move fast and get top dollar, those are the ones that are marketed the right way. Here's the power. And this is why knowing how to sell in today's market matters. Because we're talking about today, we're not talking about yesterday. You're not just selling a house, you're making the biggest financial move of your life. Done right, you walk away with a massive payday. Done wrong, you could lose tens of thousands or get stuck holding a property while the market shifts under your feet. This is why strategy matters more than ever before. And then I'm going to seed in the 3 pricing strategy. So again, the impact. This is the next thing. So we talk about marketing for now, that we're now at the impact. So imagine this, instead of stressing whether your home will sell, you've got buyers lined up. Instead of slashing your price just to get an offer, you're getting top dollar because your home was positioned correctly from the day one. This is 3 pricing strategies. You see how all of this ties into the listing presentation and why you need to know the listing presentation? That's what happens when you sell strategically. So even if you're thinking about selling, don't make a move until you know the facts. So I'm telling them, like, even if you're thinking about selling, don't move. Don't do anything until you know the facts. I put together a free report, consultation, video, whatever your offer is, your call to action. I've talked about that in the past, the opt-in value offer. I'm not going to go into that. That breaks down exactly what's happening in today's market and how to sell for the highest price even in certain times. So let's do this. Let me show you how ninja this gets. So let's go over to our trusted ChatGPT. 1 second here. Let's go over our trusted ChatGPT. Let's take this exact same script, and I'm going to throw these 3 links in the chat below. So these are the 2 books. This is the book, and then this is like training around, like we call the income. This is for private clients. And then if you're not a private client and you're a guest, join us at our virtual sales summit coming up. But those are direct links to the book I was talking about earlier. And then the direct link to our income to inbox playbook. That's going to give you more information about, like, there's more training on what to do once you have to actually get the lead. So let's do this though. Oh, and the other thing was in the income to inbox playbook, that's where the ChatGPT thing that I'm going to show you, that's where that lives. So I knew I posted that for a reason. So let's do this. Because I do want to get to some questions here. So I want to show you really quickly. So in the copywriting tool, this is what I essentially wrote. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. Now you are Gary Halbert and Eugene Schwartz sitting in a room together, writing this copy for me. And we are going to target homeowners that are also business owners. I want to speak directly to the pain points of business owners that have wealth, but also want to make sure that their home gets sold at the price they want, with the terms they want, and get the offer they want. I'm going to add this, compare try and compare and contrast something that a business owner would understand and is a real life example that would help them understand this concept in more depth. Boom, here we go. See what it comes up with. Selling your home right now could be the best decision you ever make, or it could be the worst. And the difference between winning and losing, it all comes down to strategy. Most homeowners are getting it wrong. So I'll give you a couple, it's giving you the same thing. But again, this is your dog whistle. Hey, as a business owner, you know this. The market doesn't care about what you want and only responds to what you do. Think about pricing a product or selling a company. If you just slap a price tag on it and hope somebody buys, what happens? You either get a lowball offer, no one interested at all, or worse, you have to slash your price to just get the deal done. Selling a home is no different, but most homeowners don't see it that way. They assume selling a house is simple, list it, wait it. So, but again, now I'm speaking to the business owner, speaking to what they want. Interest rates are shifting. Buyers are nervous. And if you don't position your home correctly, you'll end up sitting on it for months, getting lowball offers from buyers that are desperate, or be forced to cut your price just to get attention. And here's the worst part. Most real estate agents won't tell you this. Now, the only difference between these scripts is the fact that we've called out the business owner. Now, the why. Now, imagine selling your house, selling your business. Would you rather just put up a sign and hope a buyer shows up? Of course not. You control the positioning, the messaging, the negotiation, making sure that you get an offer that comes in. It's the right buyer at the right price with the right terms. Selling your home should be the exact same process. And it goes through the power. And this is why understanding how to strategically, sell in today's market is this. It goes through it, but now you're just positioning it and you're aligning it. Now, here's the thing. This is why this is not a bad script, but I know for me, it can get better. I know that this is still a decent script, but what I'm going to do is again, clearly my prompt wasn't clear enough. So I'm going to say this, okay, this is okay. I want to go more into detail and touch more about time freedom and things that are important to a business owner. And again, this might require you to go to answer the public. For example, successful business owners really care about profit and running a smooth operation. So try to compare and contrast something they would understand that would make my offer a no-brainer. This is why it's super important to understand these frameworks. So let's see what ChatGPT comes up with this time. I'm not worried about the hooks. Okay, the problem. As a business owner, you don't just care about making money. You care about profit, efficiency, and control. That's why you have systems in place. You don't just take on any client or accept any deal. You structure things strategically so you get maximum return with minimum stress. But here's the problem. Most business owners don't sell their home like this, like they would sell their business. Again, I'm comparing and contrasting them selling their business. So if they're a successful business owner, they're thinking about potentially exiting. They list it, they cross their fingers. And again, this is what most business owners do. Let's contrast this with something you know firsthand, selling a business. When you exit a company, do you just throw out a random number and accept the first offer? Of course not. You make sure your business is positioned correctly. You create competition so buyers chase you. You control the terms so the deal is done on your timeline under your conditions. We're talking about the real estate, market shifting fast, hoping for a good offer. They engineer demand. Again, we want to speak to the end consumer so they understand us on a deep level. So what I want to do is I'm going to stop there. I got 13 minutes for Q&A, and I want to respect the Q&A because I told you that I was going to do that. So let's start with Javier's question first, because Javier had a question. He posted it in the chat, and I want to answer his question. What's your question?
Forget about it. But Pretty much, you already answered. You threw all the prompts into the Triz chat GPT. So all the agent prompts are in there. We don't have to create our own prompts for that, right?
Yeah, so they're all in the lead generation playbook. If you go to lead generation playbook, 95% of my prompts are it's important to understand that prompts at the end of the day are frameworks. They're not like, everyone in the marketing world is obsessed with this word prompt, but a prompt is a framework. So the prompt I gave you today, the hook, the problem, the symptom, that's what you want to put in there. But you need to do research on the end consumer that you're trying to target prior to putting in the prompt. But it's all in the lead generation playbook for you.
Thanks.
Got you. Next question. By 13 minutes. How long would this video be? 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Again, it just depends on the platform that you're creating on. So if you got to distinguish whether you're creating it for an ad or whether you're going to put money behind it or whether it's just going to be kind of like an organic video. So if it's an organic video, then, again, it can be 1 minute, it could be 2 minutes, it can be 3 minutes, it can be 4 minutes. It's like the market is the market is the market, and the market will tell you what's working and what's not working. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
So, because people have really short span, they don't want to go through 3-minute video. So how can we make it short and effective?
So you're assuming that people don't watch long form video. It's just not true, unfortunately. So people, if the content's really good, people I listen to hour-long podcasts. Like Joe Rogan has a 3.5-hour podcast that people listen to because the content's really, really good. So if you build an audience, say for example, for me, this is why I try to get people to think in sub niches. I have a friend named Juan. He has his sub niches. He only is working with he's only working with not multifamily fourplexes. So all of his content that he creates is targeting fourplex owners. That's a super specific sub niche, and he prints money as a real estate agent because all of his content talks directly to that audience. So YouTube is used. You have to understand the medium, the platform, on Facebook or on Instagram. Every platform is a different medium. So YouTube is great for long form. Instagram is great for short form reels. But again, it is also it's doing really well right now with longer form reels as well. Facebook does really great with question and answer. So you ask a question and you get people to respond. There's something in the portal. It's called the hell is it called? So in the lead generation playbook, if you want to if you want to kind of get started, you're hey, how do I even start creating content? There's something in the portal. It's called the social deal flow system. So watch this video. It's called the social deal flow system. It's inside of our private training community. It'll walk you through how to get started in creating content for Facebook and Instagram. It's a great training video. Any other questions?
Hi, Cody.
What's up, Kim? I knew you were going to ask a question. Hey, the people that ask questions get answers. So
Okay, I got two. You led into one. I'm curious if you flip that around, the script that you just got. If we flipped it around for Instagram for a reel, I'm curious what that would look like. And then the second question is, do you have a prompt already set up to kind of help us guide our ways to find our sub niche through ChatGPT?
No, I don't. What do you mean find your sub niche?
I'm Miami, right? The business owners and entrepreneurs, they're everywhere. So I definitely think that would work. I'm waterfront properties. I was just trying to see if I give them Miami, if it can help me determine who my sub niche is, just because it's Miami and it's a hodgepodge of everything.
You got so many entrepreneurs, so many business owners in Miami. You'd be crazy not to market to the business owners.
I know everybody's an entrepreneur. Nobody works here.
Yeah, exactly. So your messaging would be so much better, and you're again, so we talk about, people are like, I want to get into the luxury market. It's like, well, who is like luxury is a lifestyle. Like luxury is a person. Like a person buys luxury. Like when we understand that a person buys luxury, like I'm your ideal client profile. Like, Vic and I have actually talked about potentially buying a condo in Miami. Like I'm your ideal client profile. So you need to create content for people like me that, again, wanna
Lifestyle,
have,
showing the lifestyle.
yep,
Yeah,
lifestyle.
that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. But like it's specifically speaking to their pain points about buying a property. So like, for example, like, again, like as a business owner right now, what is one of the problems that business owners have? Let's just build this live. What is one of the problems business owners have around buying a property?
They don't have too much time to, you know,
Time.
Right.
go
Yep.
around
I would
and
agree with that.
just, yeah.
But let's go deeper. Let's start talking about belief systems. Like the entrepreneurs in Miami, why don't they own property?
I think a lot of them, I mean, the mindset, they think like it's better to rent for some reason.
Yeah, but why? Why do they think that?
They don't want to
Because
make.
nobody's educated them like the pros of actually
Go
buying and building
but
wealth.
we got to go deeper because we're tackling a belief. We got to go deeper. How do we go deeper?
They've been listening to
Is
Grant
it-
Cardone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Boom. What else? What else? Let's go deeper. Let's talk about the belief sets. Because what you're doing.
Is it because they think because they are self-employed and all that, and their accounting, their tax, all that stuff, when it comes to looking to buy, like how they show up on paper, so to speak.
Yeah, could be
Is the
cash
problem.
flow. Yeah, it could be cash flow as well. It could be a cash flow thing. It's like, why am I going to take, $60,000, $100,000, 120? Like,
Invested
I have
in
a
house.
Yeah, and invested
Like
in a house.
invested
When
back into my business.
Mhm.
Yep.
I actually had that the other day. I called someone on my list there, and she said the same thing. I'm taking a back seat right now. I reinvested it back into my business.
That's a belief set. A good marketing tackles beliefs. What is Grant Cardone doing? He's telling everyone to rent. Why is he doing that? Because he wants you to invest into his fund.
Yep.
He's tackling a belief system that people already have. So a good marketing, we got to show, but we have to show, tell, and we have to tackle hey, one of the problems that a lot of business owners have when they're considering purchasing a home is this idea that they're going to be cash poor. And no business owner wants to be cash poor. Just call it out. Start talking about how they can potentially buy property without having to put, $100,000 down. What are some creative ways that they can get into like, there's a lot of people in Miami that are spending 10, 20, 30K a month in rent when they could own something. So we as marketers, if we see ourselves as a media company, as a marketing company, we'll start creating what we call unique mechanisms. So what a unique mechanism is a model in which you get them their desired result, and you tackle all the belief sets and the belief systems that they've learned in the past. I really, really hope that I'm making sense here. So good marketing tackles the belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to be able to get more into those because a belief system for a business owner is different than a belief system for that if somebody is like that works like a 9 to 5.
Right. A W-2 employee for sure.
Yeah.
Different
But we market the same way. And we assume that their pain points are the same, but they're not.
This was such an aha moment for me. Thank you, Cody. Honestly, it's true. I mean, and I should know better too because I'm used to be a mortgage broker, so I know there's such a difference. I would be the one to say a W-2 employee is so much different from a 1099 employee. It's just so different, the mindset.
Yeah. I'm glad you're getting this aha, because when you get that, like when clients get this aha moment, they're like, oh my God, like I can market to both, but I almost need to split up my video content. And I need to one needs to approach this avatar and the other needs to approach this avatar. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't work with both. It's just like your message, you need to draw that line in the sand, and the messaging needs to be completely different. But it requires work. Like that's the thing. Like you got like even right now, we're sitting here being like trying to think about like what are some of the belief systems of a business owner. Like, we're trying to get into and then we go even, you can go down the rabbit hole even more. You're like, okay, well, does a brick and mortar business owner have different belief sets than a digital entrepreneur?
Influencer.
1000%.
So do you see how like, I'm going to tie this all around for us here. Do you see why it's so important that we learn how to better communicate in our calls and get the overarching goal, get the game plan frame? So when we're actually making phone calls or somebody walks into an open house and we understand what it is, like what even actually, like, what is their overarching goal? What's their why? We as agents are understanding this in Triz that like I can't do ALM, I can't do LP Mama, because if I do that, then I'm just going to be like every other real estate agent out there. I'm never actually going to get the overarching goal of the end consumer. But the same applies for your marketing. So everyone, I hope you got a ton of value today. I hope that today was kind of like a reminder. For some of us, it was just a refresher. Like it was just like a reminder for us. So for some of us, it was an aha moment. For others of us, it was a moment of clarity, which I absolutely love. I posted those two things below. If you're a guest with us today, I hope you got a ton of value. We're going to do 6 hours of this on March 19th and March 20th. I'm going to post a link in the chat below. We have some really, really cool things happening. One of the plans that we have for the next session, I just threw it in the chat below, for the 19th and the 20th when we do our virtual summit. I already chatted with our tribe leaders about this. They're going to do something I call 20-minute talks. So I'm super excited about this. So Jan, Molly, and Daniel are going to essentially sell their presentation to you, and you're going to get the opportunity to choose what presentation you want to go to. So the virtual summit is going to be freaking amazing. And they're going to teach you, like, I think Jan's going to teach you about not expired. Jan's going to teach something about like mailers. Molly's going to do her thing. Everyone's going to talk about something different. So we're going to cover an array of topics. If you're a client and you have friends if you have like friends and colleagues, send them the link. So inside of the Triz School community, there's actually a discount code for them. So you can send that to them as like a gift and just send them the discount code, and they get 50% off their ticket. They can get an idea of kind of like what we're up to from a marketing and sales perspective. It's a great opportunity to invite some friends. We're going to spend 2 days together, just kind of teaching and trying to provide as much value as we can. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your Thursday. We'll see. One final reminder for our clients, 3 p.m. Today, 12 p.m. Pacific. We have Jen Cudmore with us today. Do not miss this. I'm telling you guys, if you have an appointment, move it. She's freaking phenomenal. She's amazing. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you guys later on today. Thank you to all our guests. I hope you got a ton of value today, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye, guys.